So what we have to do now is remove the clip, and then we can take the circuit board out to do the soldering. Once you've got the board out, we're going to use the third pin up, which is empty, and we're going to solder to terminal 8. We're going to run the jumper wire from terminal 8 to the empty pin. Once you're done, it should look like that. Now we're going to go and reassemble it and move the pins over. And we're going to have to remove this second wire. So the bottom is 1, number 2, this second wire, and we're going to move that up to number 3 now. Now your wiring should look like that. This cable here is the one that's supplied with the steering wheel. This is where we're going to make our splices and adapt the earths for the triggers. So it gets plugged in like so. So that's the top. We want to get the third and fourth wire, which is the 2 middle wires, and then we want to chop them, and then that's what we're going to trigger the relays with. Okay, so this is the concept. This is the relay, and that black cord goes to the harness, and then that goes to the, so this is going to be winch in, this is going to be winch out. So if I push that button, you will hear it click, and that will activate the solenoid, which will bring the winch in. Now that I've joined the cables and extended them, we're going to run them through the firewall and bring them out into the engine bay, and then I have to run mine all the way over to the other side where I'm going to house the relay switches. I was thinking of putting them down here where the box is, and I still might see if there's enough room inside there to put them in. If not, I'll have to make a mount up here somewhere and mount them up. So I've run my wires through. These 2 black wires here are the trigger wires, and this is the power wire. Now this power wire you can run off, I have my winch isolator on a 100 amp relay, and basically I've piggybacked off that, so when I turn the winch on inside the car, it gives the power to the relays. So that's what that wire is. You can get that wire, the power off the middle wire. So that middle wire there, when you turn the winch on, that is energized, and then these are your 2 trigger points. And then basically what this is the trigger wires from the hand control. Turn the relay on, which runs the power through the 2 cables, which will then go to the solenoid here. So that's how that works. And we're also going to cut these 2 wires, and then we're going to put some diodes in line, so when we're triggering the power, it's not running and feeding back up through the connector, because this connector here runs to the control box for the wireless control. So I want to be able to use the wireless control as well, even the manual hand control, as a backup after, just in case there's a electrical fault with the hand control on the steering wheel, so we can isolate them and still use the winch if we get stuck. Okay, now to make up the wires to go into the winch, we have the trigger wire, and then what you want to do is you want to add an extra piece to the connector. So you've got the one coming in from the solenoid going into the big solenoid, and then this one here we want to put a diode on it so it allows the flow in to the solenoid, but not back out and up into the control module for the wireless unit. Because all we wanted to do is we just wanted to send the signal from there to here. We don't want it to go back up and through. So we've got to add the diodes in, which I'm going to do now. Okay, to connect the diode, what you want to do is the grey tag at the bottom. Now these are I think they're 15 watt diode. I'll put the link in the description. This is from JCar. Same with the relays and all the bits and pieces, they're all from JCar. What you want to do is that grey end, you want that going to this wire here. The grey end goes to that wire. Now the way I'm going to connect it might be a bit weird, but it's the best way I've found in the past to do it, to make it an inline connection. So we want to connect this red wire here to that white wire. As you can see here, the green wire, because I've already got the green wire, I've already done this one here, and that's how it's going to look when it's finished with the diode in line. So what I use is, you can get they're called bullet connectors. This is the female end, so the diode actually fits in there pretty good. Sorry, I'm doing this all one-handed. So that goes up in there like that, and then covers, basically the diode sits in there nice and neat. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Yep, there we go, like so. So it's like a little housing for the actual diode, and then all I do is just trim off the end so it just sits in there, and then add the wire in and crimp it all down. I'll do that on both sides, and then heat shrink over the top. So I'm just going to do that now. I'll do the first one and then show you what it looks like. And what you want to do is you want to put the heat shrink tube on, and same thing. This is from JCar. This one's a 10mm heat shrink, and it comes in a 5-meter roll. So I normally get it in rolls because I love to do electrical stuff, and I just cut off as I need. So that's the first one done. You can see the grey tab I've put on this side, which goes down to the main solenoid. So what that'll do is, when the trigger from the wireless remote or the standard remote, the trigger is allowed to go in and turn on the big solenoid. But when we trigger it with this wire, which goes to the steering wheel controls, it doesn't backfeed the power up and into the control module for the wireless remote. Once you finish joining everything, it should look like that. And then we'll put the heat shrink over and seal it all up. So once you've done, you'll have something that looks like this. The white and the green, obviously green, and I've got red. You can do it with white, that's okay. All depends on what so this is the worn winch. It's the 9,500 pound winch. This might be different on yours, but you've just got to work out. Obviously it'll tell you there, in and out. And now we're just going to run the wires through, close it up, and basically it'll look like factory. And then we'll just run some corrugated tube to the solenoids, and there's the green and the red wire. I've done a test fit of the relays. That's the position I'm going to put them in. And what we want to do now is just get the cables, and we want to tidy up all this. Get some electrical tape, heat shrink tube, however you want to do it, and that's basically it. Tidy it up, bolt everything back, and in here, in the engine bay, we're done. So as you can see, the winch is hanging down. I'll winch it in now. You can see it's coming up. I'll just bring it in a little bit more. There we go, it's almost all the way in now. Give it a little tap. Go. And one more. That's it. All done. Okay, so this is the test for the hand controls. Going to winch up to that tree over there. I've conveniently got myself sort of stuck. So let's give this a go, eh? Okay, we're nicely hooked up to that tree there. Let's go, let's do this. Let's give it a try. First things first, we'll turn the winch on. That there turns the winch controls on, and as you can hear, we're taking up the slack now. Now we're under load, so I'm just going to put it in neutral and let it take me. So now we're under load. And as you can see, we're moving nice and slowly. And we're out. Still holding the winch on. There we go. I'll say that's a success. Okay, and does it work with the wireless remote as well? Plus the hand controls? Yes, it does. That's out. That's it.